So what exactly does college admissions look for when interested candidates want to apply to their program? Well, as a former college admissions counselor from one of the top universities and MBA programs in the nation, I'd like to share with you those secrets today. So stay tuned to the end of this video so that you can learn the secrets of admissions.
Let me tell you this, let me tell you right now, your exquisite kiss still burning. Didn't know I missed this passion in life. Now I'm addicted somehow. Let me tell you what is up with your smile? It's impossible, not melting, irresistible. When I look through your eyes, not even sky's the limit. I used to be satisfied, dated over the surface. Now I just can't get enough. You make me feel good like no other. I just want everyone to see what I've discovered.
Welcome back, my Fit fam, to another segment of Fit with Tiff 100, your one-stop shop for everything fit, from being fit in your finances, fit inside your body, and fit in your thoughts. Today's topic covers being fit in your finances, but more specifically, how to obtain the education that you need so that you can get the career of your choice to make the money that you want. So stay tuned. Tiffany Chanell here, and as the CEO and founder of Money Makeover Ministries, I have helped many clients since the year 2005 to help them improve their finances, their education, and their career. If you'd like to know how I've helped my clients, and if you'd like to obtain your free guide to making your money over, visit moneymakeoverministries.com. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So I'd like to share with you the top 3 secrets. I'm calling them secrets, but I don't really think they're very much a secret to the people that do work in admissions, but it might be a secret to some of the folks on the other side of the fence who are looking to get into an undergraduate or graduate program. So I'd like to share with you those 3 secrets today on what admissions looks for in prospective students. Now, I have helped many clients with getting into undergraduate and graduate programs, and not just in business. I do have an MBA, but I've helped people with getting into medical programs, business programs, pharmacy school programs, just a span across various types of majors and interests. And the reason why I'm able to help people with so many different interests is because these 3 secrets or keys are applicable to any type of program that you want to get into. So let's get into these secrets. So secret number 1, numbers, numbers, numbers. Admissions, they're looking at your numbers, meaning they're looking at your transcript, they're looking at your GPA. If you're applying to a graduate program, they're looking at your major GPA as well, and the grades that you obtained in those classes that are applicable to that graduate program. Now, a 3.3 GPA is considered competitive on a 4.0 scale. I'd say if you're above a 3.0, that is decent. Hopefully you have reasons as to why you were at a 3.0. Maybe you were the leader of organizations, or if you were also working while you were in school. There could be numerous amount of reasons as to why your GPA is not as competitive as some of your competition in getting into that undergraduate college or graduate program, and that's fine. You'll just want to state that on your essay, which brings me to my next point. Secret number 2, what admissions reads about you. So this is your admissions application. So admissions is looking at that application for so many different things. They want to get to know you a bit better than just, oh, I'd like to apply to get into your program. Well, who are you? Why do you want to be in our program? And so if you have a resume specifically, I'm not sure if students are having resumes that they have to submit to undergraduate programs, but if you do, you want to state what the student organizations that you were involved in, if you held office positions in those organizations. Also, this applies to if you're applying for a graduate program as well. State what student organizations you were involved in undergrad and if you held leadership roles. But more importantly, also state if you have professional experience, which I would assume that you do if you're applying to a graduate program. Now, you want to state if you received any type of promotion while you were at your prior employer or your current employer. All of that looks good because that shows an institution your promotability, especially if you want to obtain a graduate degree like an MBA degree or other graduate programs. They want to know that when you come out of that program, you have the ability to be successful, because they can give you the tools that you need, but they want to see that you can obtain success even prior to going into that program. And what that program does is give you the tools that you need to be even more successful in your career. Also, admissions is looking at your recommendations. So when you are applying to a program, they may ask for 1 or 2 recommendations. I suggest obtaining a recommendation from, if you already have work experience and your supervisor is on board with you going into a graduate program, especially if it's a part-time program. So let's say you're working during the day and going to school at night or on the weekend. Get a recommendation from your supervisor or manager. Now, if you're looking to completely change careers, I would not advise you to go to your manager or supervisor for a recommendation, because you really don't want to have those kind of discussions unless you know for sure that you've gotten into the program and that is the decision that you want to make. And then, of course, you would give your supervisor a 2 weeks notice or whatever that company requires. But definitely get a recommendation from a higher up. So what I did when I was working in consulting, I did not obtain a recommendation from my manager. I actually went to another manager that I had done some special projects for, and I obtained a recommendation from her. In addition to that, I also obtained a recommendation from a partner at the firm where I worked, who was also considered my mentor. Actually, both of these individuals, I still look to them as mentors today. And I was in graduate school way back in, I was applying for graduate school way back in 2009 or so. So again, you definitely want to obtain recommendations from people who you trust and people that are higher up that can give you a great recommendation. Now, let's say you are looking to get into undergraduate school, so then you may not have a recommendation from a current employer like a boss or a supervisor unless you are working part-time while you're in high school. And if that's the case, then go ahead and get a recommendation from them. But I would also advise you to look at some of the people at your school, maybe asking your principal for a recommendation if you have a really good relationship with your principal, asking your guidance counselor for a recommendation, or one of your teachers for a recommendation. If you volunteer at maybe a church or some nonprofit organization, asking for a recommendation from them. And then also taking that recommendation, maybe if you do volunteer, tying it into your essay, which brings me into the next point. What admissions looks at and reads about you is your essay as well, which is part of your application. Now, when I applied to undergrad, I was only required to write 1 essay, but for graduate school, we had 2 essays we had to write. And so we were able to choose from different categories. And I'd say when you're writing your essay, dig deep. Don't just touch the surface. I know for me, I had to dig deep when I was writing about why I wanted to go to graduate school. I am the first person in my family, on both sides of the family, to graduate from college and then also to get a higher education. Now, since then, I've had family members, siblings, cousins, many people go off to college and be successful. But because I was the first, it just meant something to me when I was writing that essay, and I believe this was for undergraduate. And I wanted to talk about how I wanted to change my future, and my parents worked really hard to give me the opportunity to change the course of my future. And so I talked about that in my essay. When I applied to graduate school, I talked about how we had a death in the family and how that death really hit hard for me, especially because that person always checked up on me when I was in undergraduate school, and now here I am going to graduate school and they're not going to be there, but they worked so hard so that they could provide for their family to have a better future. And so I talked about that and how I wanted to have that better future that person worked so hard for our family to obtain. And so I'm not saying use those reasons. Definitely come up with your own reasons, but dig deep when you're writing your essay and make sure that your essay is connected. That essay tells the story of your entire application. So how do I explain this? Your essay should not be completely opposite of anything else you're putting in your application. Let's say this. If you had a low GPA during one semester or a year in school, and maybe that affected your overall GPA, what you could do in your essay is reference that. So I'm not saying make your whole essay about your GPA, but maybe you make your essay about trying to do something greater in your family because the person that passed away left behind a legacy, and you want to do something with your life so that you can make them proud and continue that legacy. And when they passed away while you were in school, that really hit hard for you, and maybe you had to take on extra jobs to make ends meet for your household, or maybe it just hurt you so badly that it was hard for you to pick things back up with your grades, but you eventually got there. And so maybe you talk about the impact that person had on you, and then that will tie into why you had a low GPA one semester or 1 year. But what I'm really just trying to say is make sure you dig deep when you talk about your essay, because a school wants to know that you're truly committed. I've heard so many people talk about entrepreneurship and things that you want to do in life. The key question that you have to ask is, what is your why? What is your why? And so if your why is strong enough and you're showing that in your essay, that admissions counselor is going to realize and recognize that your why is so great, you will not fail, you cannot fail, you will succeed in their program. And finally, the third key secret that admissions looks for in prospective students is what they see and what they hear. So if you have an opportunity to make it into an interview with the admissions office, usually this is for people who are applying to graduate school. When I applied to undergraduate school, I don't believe I had an interview. I think I actually was able to get in. I was in the top 3.5% of my class, and so I didn't have an interview to go on. I actually was automatically admitted into the program. But for graduate school, I was offered to come into the institution for an interview. Now, when you go on the interview, the admissions office is looking to see that you are prepared for the interview. What does your attire look like? Are you dressed for success? Making sure that you're dressed appropriately. And I will leave a link at the top to one of my videos that talks about what to wear on an interview. Now, in addition to that, admissions also looks for whether or not you researched the school. Did you research the programs that they offer? Because a lot of schools have various programs, and I know the graduate school that I went to had multiple programs. And so if you are interested in a specific program, make sure you research that about the school and about the program, so that when you're talking to an admissions counselor while they're interviewing you, you've done your research and that they can see that you're prepared and that you truly are interested in their program. Also, when asked behavioral questions like, tell me about a time when you had to do this, or tell me about a time when you needed to execute that, Well, you need to be using the STAR method. And so if you're using that method, then the interviewer will have a clear understanding of how you're answering the question. And I'll link at the top, I think I'm pointing in the wrong way. I will link, maybe it's this way, at the top, another video that I did post on the STAR method, what it is, and how to successfully use the STAR method to master every interview that you go on when it comes to behavioral questions. And finally, they're looking at your overall personality. They want to know that you'll do well in that program, because when you're in a program, you're going to be working with others. And so admissions wants to know that you can work well with others, and just do you have a kind personality, a sincere and genuine personality, that you truly are interested in their program and that you can work well with your classmates so that you're successful in completing the program. Here you'll see an image of the rankings of the institution where I obtained my master's in business, and during my second year in the program, I did serve as an admissions counselor. And so the information that I'm sharing with you today is applicable not just to that school, but to many schools, because I have helped many of my clients get accepted into graduate and undergraduate programs spanning across many different types of degrees. Now, MyFit fam, if this content helped you in any way, please give this video a thumbs up and like the content. Also, subscribe to my channel if this video helped you, because I am going to be posting more videos about being fit in your finances and your education and your career path. And please share this content out with others that you may know that can benefit from this video. And until next time, always stay fit in your finances, and I will see you in the next upload.